Distinguished Chairman, colleagues, I'm Michael Okoye. I represent Central Senatorial District. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, distinguished colleagues, all our invited guests. My name is Senator Odila Oma. I represent the Central Senatorial District of my state, from my state. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, distinguished senators, my name is Father Adi Francis OFR. I represent the good people of the Chief. Vice Chairman, Custom Committee.
Mr. Chairman, I am smart again, and I represent Google Washington Drive.
James Manager, Business House.
Senator Denki, Irene, Bayelsa, Senatorial District.
Kola Dialogue for your South.
Senator Susan represent.
Senator Albert Bassi Akwa.
Thank you, distinguished colleagues. My name remains Secretary of Central, Chairman of the Special Committee of the Senate. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and then all the petitioners and the respondents here present. We will start this proceedings. Thank God one of the respondents is around now. We have 4 particular cases today. We have petitions referred to the Senate Committee on Ethics for consideration. So the first one is Timothy Beginner. This some of you sitting down there give the middle chair for the chairman of CCT. No, the chairman should come forward, please. Sit down. Please move. So we have 4 petitions before the committee. The first one is Timothy
Clark. It's me up there.
All right, get a place for the customs. Please leave the front street for the principal respondents. Let me just the first case is the first petition. Is that from Timothy Beginner Rauna, or Chairman Code of Conduct Tribunal? That will be Mark. The following one is High Chief Sonho Jackie versus Presidential Amnesty. 3. Alhaji Musilino versus Nigerian Customs Service. And finally, Mr. Osiro Ogosha versus Federal Character Commission. We start this proceeding by starting from petition number 1. We want the chairman to introduce himself, and then the petitioner to introduce himself. So please go and after introduction, the minister will vote. Now, The petitioner and his lawyer administered the oath together. The lawyer and the petitioner should administer the oath together. Let them stand up and administer the oath.
I, Tunzun Banira, do solemnly affirm that the evidence I shall give before this distinguished committee shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
My name is Hello. Solemnly that evidence I shall give before this distinguished committee shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Do solemnly swear by the Holy Quran, the evidence I shall speak before this distinguished committee is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me, Almighty Allah.
Well, thank you, distinguished colleagues, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. This is the first petition for the committee. Two of them have sworn to the oath of affirmation. We will read the synopsis of the case. People at home, for the benefit of those who are at home. Timothy Linear Ramnat, Esquire. Petition against Chairman Code of Conduct Tribunal, Dada Umar. This petition was laid by Senator Itfanos D. Gian, Plateau North, on Tuesday, 20th April 2021. Timothy Linear Ramnat Esquire wrote on behalf of Mr. Clement Sagwat against the Chairman Code of Conduct Tribunal, Dada Umar, on alleged brutal assault and violent attack against Mr. Clement Sagwat on 20th March 2021. He said that on the aforementioned date, Mr. Clement Sagwat, a security guard on duty at Venice Plaza, while performing his usual duty of directing vehicles driven into the plaza to park properly within the spaces provided, was badly assaulted and brutalized by one Justice Umar Daladi, who came down from an SUVG that Mr. Clement Sagwat was directing to park properly. Request that the Senate should look into the matter and give Mr. Clement Sagwat justice in this unruly saga against him and ensure that appropriate sanction is meted out against Justice Umar Daladi. That was the synopsis of the petition. Day before the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria on 29 March 2021. We are here today as members of this August chamber of the National Assembly and public hearing open to all Nigerian public to hear from both the petitioner and the respondents. So we will give the floor to the petitioner to briefly state his case before Nigerians, and we also give time for the Justice Umadaladi to defend himself. Thank you. So you have the floor. Please observe both COVID-19 protocol by properly, putting on your mask. Please.
So, once again, I am Simzin Banir Ramna, Esquire. Distinguished chairman, distinguished members of this honorable committee, and the honorable clerk of the committee as well. We are here before this distinguished Senate to present our petition against Honorable Danladi Umar as captioned in the petition. Before this Senate, in presenting our case, we have submitted or filed our statements. The clerk of this committee, we don't know if copies have been served on the members of this honorable committee. Yes, we have also served or filed videos, video in 2 chapters, showing what actually transpired on that day. The first video showing the action in slow motion, clearly showing how the assault was meted on our client. And the second one is a normal, ordinary video. And in presenting the petition, I have an application to make. I'm not here alone. I'm here with my colleagues who are working together. There are 3 of them. I would like to announce their presence here. We have Nansok A. Esquire. Right there.
Present.
We have Daniel G. Esquire. And Caleb N. Ramla Esquire. In ensuring justice to be done to Clement Sarkwa, we've been able to put our heads together to see that we present a presentable presentation before this honorable and distinguished Senate. I will humbly apply that one of these gentlemen whom we are working together present our case before the Senate.
Well, I've got one from giving the assembly able to understand what
No,
This was to refer people going to administer so that you can present
we
it.
are much reduced. We are much
Administer.
I, Daniel Chibashir, do solemnly affirm that evidence I shall touch before this distinguished committee shall be true, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, distinguished members of this noble committee, the clerk of this committee, Nigerians.
Let's go straight to the point because times are a factor. We only give you 5 minutes to summarize. You have your document with us already.
Yes.
So we have time constraints. Okay, we have digested your position, but for the people at home, they must hear from the petitioner what brought you to this level where we are. So, in a concise and in a brief manner, please, within 5 minutes, just summarize. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, before this honorable committee is a petition written on behalf of the petitioner by the law firm of TV Ramnabako and signed by Mr. Timson Ramna Esquire. Pursuant to this petition, we are here today. Our statement, which is signed and filed today before the committee, attached to that statement are 5 still images marked annexures A, B, C, D, and E, respectively. Mr. Chairman, these pictures capture important moments in this petition. Annexure A is the still image of when the chairman Code of Conduct Tribunal, Mr. Danladi Umar, instructed one of his aides to slap our client, Mr. Sargon, seated here. If you look closely at that still image, you will see the chairman Code of Conduct Tribunal pointing his finger and giving an instruction to one of his aides who is wearing a kaftan. You will also see the hands of the aide of the chairman Code of Conduct Tribunal, Mr. Umar, slapping or hitting the head of Mr. Sargon, our client. Annexure B is a picture showing the chairman Code of Conduct Tribunal standing behind his SUV, Jeep, and his aide in the kaftan instructing our client to kneel down to apologize to the chairman Code of Conduct Tribunal. Annexure C, Mr. Chairman, is a still image of the moment when the chairman Code of Conduct Tribunal kicked the head of our client with his feet, like a football. That kick, that vicious assault, gave rise to the picture in Annexure D, the injury our client suffered on his lips as a result of that kick. Mr. Chairman, Annexure E is a still image of the chairman Code of Conduct Tribunal, Mr. Umar, being held by a police officer from further assaulting our client. These still images, Mr. Chairman, were taken from the video that an eyewitness took from the scene, and it's on various news platforms online and various social media platforms. It shows what it is. Mr. Chairman, Our grievance and the reason why we came before this honorable committee is to seek for justice. We are here to contend before the Nigerian people and before this committee that the conduct of the Chairman Code of Conduct Tribunal, who is a highly placed public officer, is inconsistent with the oath of office he took. It's an assault prohibited by law. It violates the fundamental rights of our client, Mr. Clemens Salva, who was assaulted. Our statement in details captures lucidly the facts as they transpired, how the Chairman Code of Conduct Tribunal drove into the premises, how he did not properly park, how our client went ahead, talked to him, and requested him to park his car, how the Chairman Code of Conduct Tribunal, Mr. Danladi Umar, felt insulted that somebody as small as this would dare ask him to repark his car and assaulted him. When you read our statement, Mr. Chairman, it will come to your knowledge that our client was assaulted 4 times. Only 2 were captured on camera. The first round of the assault took place before the camera started rolling. Immediately after the chairman of the Code of Conduct Tribunal alighted from his car, he slapped our client. He tore the uniform he was wearing in that his body.
Please. Gentlemen, those of you who are distracting the chairman, please, you wait. We're dealing with something very serious here. You people are coming from behind all the time. Allow the chairman listen to that accusation against him. None of you should come here again. So we can handle this.
Now, what's the ruling on the ground? That's okay.
As the committee pleases. As I was saying, Mr. Chairman, our client was assaulted 4 times. The first assault came directly from the Chairman Code of Conduct Tribunal, then the cameras were not rolling. In that, when our client went up to him and asked him to properly park his car, to make sure that vehicular and human traffic within Barnett's Plaza continues to flow smoothly, the Chairman Code of Conduct Tribunal felt that our client was rude or shouldn't have spoken to him to repark his car. The Chairman Code of Conduct Tribunal assaulted our client and slapped him, jacked him by his uniform, and some of the buttons on his uniform they fell off. He asked his aide, whom they came to that plaza together, and his aide physically assaulted our client. Our client left, ran, called his head guard. The head guard came, saw that indeed the Chairman Code of Conduct Tribunal had not properly parked, and because he was helpless, he could not do anything, he went and called the supervisor of the plaza. One of the major challenges we are facing, Mr. Chairman, is that many eyewitnesses who could have come before this tribunal, before this committee to testify, don't want to come because they have already been intimidated by security agents, the police and the DSS. They would not want to even talk to you about this subject matter. The next assault that took place was after the Chairman Code of Conduct Tribunal was accosted by police from within the Barnett's Plaza, and the Barnett's Plaza police invited him to have a conversation with him where this matter would be amicably settled in the office, and he turned them down. And that was when he sent that his security be called. He sent his aide that they were in the vehicle together. His aide left, went and called his security, who later arrived. It was on their arrival that the cameras started rolling. And everything that transpired in that video that is viral online happened. Mr. Chairman, recently a black American was killed in America by a police officer kneeling on his neck. The reason why the police officer has been convicted of committing that crime today is because of the availability of video evidence. for the jury to make its own opinion about it. We have presented before this committee the burnt copy on a CD of that video that was taken by an eyewitness and posted to various news outlets online, Sahara Report, Reporters Punch, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and many other platforms online. It is before this committee, for this committee to watch and to form its judgment as to whether our client was assaulted or not. Our client is weak, he is defenseless, but thank God he has found lawyers to speak up for him. In the end, Mr. Chairman, if this committee finds that the Chairman Code of Conduct Tribunal, Mr. Umar, who sits before this committee today, breached his oath of office, breached the Constitution by assaulting a defenseless young security guard, we are calling that appropriate measures be taken. We are calling for sanctions. We are calling for accountability. We are calling for compensation for our clients. That is our brief submission before this committee, and we will be more than willing to answer any questions that the committee would ask us.
Thank you. The lawyer representing the petition.
Which one?
Well, you want to give us the fact, the petitioner, in brief. Also give the Chairman Code of Conduct Tribunal. He has listened carefully to the allegations against him, and is one of the high-ranking officers of the Federal Republic. He also have to defend himself before Nigerians. So we give you the floor, sir. So if you listen to them, we want to listen to you too on the allegations against you. Can you see them? They are taking a note.
Thank you, Mr. The distinguished chairman of this distinguished committee. Thank you, members of this distinguished committee. I'm honored and I'm humbled to appear before you this morning, rather afternoon. However, the statement of claim has just been provided this afternoon or this morning by the petitioner has not been served on me. And I think it is very, very germane that I should have a copy of that for me to be able to instruct, defend, rather controverse what has been said there in the written form like they did. I don't even know about this thing that he has actually filed today. So be that as it may, I will briefly just say that for me to be able to respond holistically as what has been presented by the written statement of the petition as contained here, can best be done by me if I'm given a copy, steady, and then properly put down. Okay, then probably controverse all that I've said in the decision of the petition. They have exhibited so many things. I do not have a copy of that. All I have is just a copy of the petition to you, the President of the Senate, which is in just 30 paragraphs. That's what I have here. So, I do not have.
Chairman, some of my colleagues asked some questions.
Yes. Also, okay, there's one thing that I want to say first.
Can switch off. I mean, information from here.
Well, distinguished chairman and distinguished colleagues, I believe this is a very important matter for us and for Nigerians. Distinguished chairman, I'm also convinced that a lot of Nigerians are interested in this matter.
Yes.
The petitioner, as a citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, deserves justice. The respondent, also as a Nigerian citizen, deserves justice. And the only way the cause of justice can be served is that there will be fair hearing to both parties. The petitioner wrote a petition which was read on the floor of the Senate, and as an institution, it was referred to this committee. And based on that, parties were invited. If, having listened to the petitioner and his lawyer, through his lawyers, the respondent is now appearing before us to say, other than the summary of the petition, which was read out by the chairman, and given a copy of which was served on him here at this hearing, that he had not been availed of any of the information or the details of the petition submitted to the Senate. Mr. Chairman, my own humble opinion would be that we don't even spend too much time on this matter today. The chairman will have to allow the respondent to be served properly, except the petitioner is going to think or is going to speak otherwise. If he insists that he served the chairman, then he might have a proof of service that he gives to us as a committee. But in the absence of that, the only fair thing to do would be to ensure that the chairman, the respondent, is properly served and be given another date when he will come back before us.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I had a colleague, the petitioner and the respondent. Ladies and gentlemen, well, Mr. Chairman, sir, I am speaking in line with what my learned colleague, Chairman of the Senate Committee on Judiciary, has just spoken. Because if it is true that the Justice Umar, who is the respondent in this matter, has not gotten the opportunity to deal with this matter before us, the way and manner the petitioner, through the lawyers representing him, has done. Then, in the interest of fair hearing, undoubtedly, we give time for the respondents to also adequately present his case before Nigerians through this particular committee. Just like he said, this is a very sensitive matter. It's a very sensitive matter. Before now, the entire media has been involved with what transpired in the Barnes Plaza. So now that we have an opportunity to formally listen to both parties through the petition that the petitioner has presented before us, I think it is important for us to give Honorable Justice Umar an opportunity to come back again next time to present his case the way and manner the petitioner or the petitioner has done. So, Mr. Chairman, that is the way I am thinking. Fair hearing is a constitutional provision which we cannot run away from. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity.
Mr. Chairman, as a lawyer, respect the opinion of my colleagues. I believe that I would have started this by asking some pertinent questions. Ask the petitioner whether, as against what Justice Umar has said, whether he has been served. We have not asked them, we're drawing conclusion. I think that is not correct. Let's ask them first. If they are not properly served him, then we know what to do. But if they have served him and have proof that he has been served, then we also know what to do. I think the first question, Mr. Chairman, is that since my lord has said that he was not properly served, ask the petitioner whether they have served him and whether they have, then we can draw conclusions.
Let me just let me give some information, please. Let me give some information. The normal practice in this particular committee is when a petition is laid before the Senate, a copy of that petition is referred to this committee. And when we are inviting respondent, a copy of that petition is the duty of the clerk of the committee to forward it to the respondent. The onus is not on the petitioner to forward it. It's not the court of law. This is the court of the people. Court of the people in the legislature. So the question is that we ask the committee that because before anybody can be invited before this committee, a copy of the petition will forward a letter of invitation. And not less than 7 days notice is given. So we will now ask Justice Omar whether the invitation of this committee is accompanied by the petition laid before the Senate. It is not the duty of the petitioner. In most cases, petitioners are whistleblowers who doesn't want to be seen at all. When we have a copy of the petition before the Senate, the clerk of the committee attach a copy of that petition with letter of invitation. So our question now is the invitation given to you by the clerk of this committee, was it accompanied with a copy of the petition laid before the Senate to Federal report? Yes or no? If it is now no, then we now say okay, let's give the approval to come back again. But if it is no, if it is yes, that we have already served, what other information does he need to? Because the petition laid before the Senate is what we have sent to you. So the question is for you, sir. The petition, the letter of invitation sent to you to invite you today, was it accompanied with the letter of invitation? A copy of the petition, yes or no?
The letter of invitation from this distinguished committee is only accompanied by the invitation by the concise or just an excerpt of it. Petition by C.P. Ramnath, but does not accompany, it's not accompanied with the statement of the petition, the statement of claim, which they now have said they have exhibited 4 videos. 2 in slow motion and 2 in actually normal. That has not been submitted. And that contains the fundamental information, which is that this data petition is very, very deep, just about how many, very brief, there's no contain anything. It's just about just 3 paragraphs or so. So it meant the details or the statement of account, the statement of claim, the petition has not been submitted, and that's what is most important.
Just now your mind. The question before this committee is very simple, please. What we are saying is that a petition, a detailed petition was sent to the Senate. We want to know whether that copy was accompanied with the letter of invitation. That's what I'm saying.
The one was submitted today.
No, the one today is just not important. What did you send?
Thank you, sir. We sent a letter of invitation, and this copy of the petition that was at the disposal of the committee at the time the matter was brought to us. The additional information brought to the which are photographs, they are just submitted here, and they are only 10 copies. We don't have them. Only 10 copies were brought here, and what you have there is just attachment of photographs. This is the original petition sent to the committee, and this is what we sent.
Chairman, can you give the additional testimony?
My own point is very simple. I want the justice to know that is not court. This is investigative committee of the Senate, and our proceedings is quite different from that of the courts. I've been in this committee now for the past 6 years, and we have our system here. We cannot come today to borrow the court's proceedings, asking whether somebody is served or is not served. It is the clerk that serves both parties if there's any document. So, and moreover, my Lord seated has listened attentively to the complainants, which is what we normally do as a committee. We will invite the complainant and invite, he will state it if he's there, if he hears the person, what he's saying. Anyway, he has gone wrong. You say he has gone wrong. But if the justice doesn't want us to handle this matter, you better tell us. We're not coming.
Well, Mr. Chairman, my distinguished senior colleagues, I think as a committee we lose nothing, Mr. Chairman, because the petitioner was speaking not on the petition submitted. He was relying deeply on the evidences as attached. So as long as the same petition was sent to both the petitioner and the Justice Omar, and the petitioner here is not relying on the subject of the petition or presented to the Senate, but speaking substantially on evidences as attached. I think as a committee we must also look at it from that standpoint, that these evidences should be Mr. Umar should be confronted with the evidences, and then it will not be, the onus will not be on him whether to speak immediately on these evidences as provided, or maybe give a later date, which might be 48 hours, or it might even be tomorrow. Because the evidences are very clear on what actually happened. So this is not
the opinion of the committee well, you see, the opinion of the committee is that the petition laid before the Senate was not as detailed as what is presented here today. But for fairness and justice to take position, I direct the committee secretary to go and stamp a copy of this one now. And let him go through it. If there is need for us to adjourn from that date, or if you can respond to it now, we'll let the committee know. Thank you, please start it. The detailed
It doesn't matter. I know what I'm saying.
The justifier have been properly served now. Well, let me just make it abundantly clear that this is just an exception to the general rule of this committee. An exception because it's a justice. It demands further explanation. But the normal practice of this committee is that when a petition is laid before the Senate, and when we are inviting respondents and the petitioners, copy of sub-petition laid before the Senate are always forwarded along. And that was done in this case. But because the 2 pages petition laid before the Senate has been expanded by the petitioner in presenting, maybe that is why Justice Manao requested that most of these evidences were not even forwarded to. This committee have ruled and he has been properly served. We will request from you whether you can give, or maybe tomorrow we'll give you another day to come and respond to it. I will give you 24 or 48 hours to go and study. This committee will decide what tomorrow morning, you respond to when you will come, now or tomorrow morning. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, distinguished members of this committee. I want to say that I've received a copy of the detailed written statements by Caleb Ramner, that's on behalf of the petition. And it's detailed, it's in pages and everything, and even a video. Ordinarily, I need time to look at it, look at the video, and then I will now respond properly. So in a nutshell, I will be asking for a brief period of time to enable me to respond to all the things that are said here. That's a simple application that I have.
How many times do you need to look at it?
1 week, 1 day, 1 hour.
Honestly, okay. I can be most obliged if I can believe it, even if it's a week from now. I have stated cases. In fact, right now there are about 24 cases waiting for me at the tribunal. They are waiting, and I know that I do have cases within this week as well. So I will graciously request your I'll be most obliged if you can give me a week or so to be able to respond.
Justice, if I had appeared before your tribunal, I don't think your tribunal will give me. I will dictate to the tribunal when I should appear. So it is not in your place to dictate to the committee when you should appear. Yes, your appearance must be based on the ruling Mr. Chairman. So, Mr. Chairman, I believe you have listened to Dr. Suma. You can then go, please.
Well, I don't know. For the benefit of doubt, he has requested for 1 week. Yes. But I don't know our position in the Senate whether we'll be on this session.
No, we are vacating on Thursday.
We are vacating on Thursday, but we give him 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Because senators will vacate next week. But members of this committee are committed members to serve Nigerians. Because this is a sensitive case. And we believe Nigerians will listen, will watch us. So in order not to make it a nonsense appearance when senators are not available, I will seek the notice of all my colleagues that after breaking for 1 week, we should come and attend to this matter before Nigerians. So we give you 2 weeks. 2 weeks is 12. So that if we have 1 week break, then we come back to attend to this matter. Date, sir. That will be 18, but before I rule, I will give 2 minutes to the lawyer representing the petitioner. He has been raising up his hands. Before I rule.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would wish to say 2 things very briefly. The first thing I would like to say is a request or an application before this committee. I know this committee is not a court, but I am making this application that this committee should pass a resolution restraining or that the police and the DSS should not harass, intimidate, disturb anybody connected to this case, directly or indirectly.
Well, thank you. That's a prayer for the committee.
That's my first.
Yeah, that's a prayer for the committee. Yes, I think the committee. That's the first one, yeah.
That's the first one. And the second one is just a brief explanation on the little mix-up we had here. Mr. Chairman, we received this letter on the 27th of April, very late, and that's the letter of invitation on the 27th day of April. That was a Tuesday, and we only had Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday to work on this. Yesterday was a public holiday. That's the only reason why. And in the letter it said, you may wish to note that oral, written, and material evidence should be accepted in your presentation. 10 copies of all written additional evidence, if any, should be made available to the committee before presentation, please. That's the reason why we only came today with copies of the additional evidence we came with.
Well, that is no problem. Yeah. So please on that, I will rule that we'll give Justice Uma 2 weeks from now. That is 18th of Tuesday, 18th of May, I mean, yes, at 1 p.m. Then on your application, that this committee resolved that no security agent or the like should embarrass or do anything contrary to the peace of these petitioners and those who are connected with the petition. So thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
The second one is cost of the Alhaji Musegino against Nigeria Customs Service. We want the Nigeria Customs Service, take your seat. Nigerian Customs Service and Alhaji Musediku. Where is Alhaji Musediku? Is he present? Yes. Okay. Ah, sit down there. Sit there. Yeah. Are you Alhaji Musediku?
I'm the secretary of the association.
Yes.
I want to tell the whole part, the position, and the person that is going to speak on behalf of the association.
Who is speaking?
Better understanding. That's going to be our chairman.
Chairman, you will take your seat there. And where is the lawyer representing you? You are the lawyer. Sit by your side by your client. Well, the police clerk administer the oath, and the bonus of that will be you read for them to follow, please. Yes, you can the deputy clerk can be administering the oath. Please go and administer the oath properly, not the not one in the committee. Go and administer, you read to them and then they will follow you.
Hi. No celebrities here. The evidence such as this. What is the I mean, with all those and nothing but the
Administer for their lawyers. They can jointly, both of them can jointly read something and then you two of you administer together.
I solemnly affirm the evidence that I give before the committee shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So,
Indian custom. So please, can you introduce yourself briefly and then comment?
Yeah. I think I could solemnly affirm that evidence that shall be before this shall be both.
Okay, please can you introduce yourself?
Yes. Sir, Chairman, I'm not the senior member of the committee. My name is Yuji Mohammed. My name is Yuji Mohammed. I'm acting assistant controller general in charge of investigation and the enforcement representing the Controller General of Customs.
Mr. Chairman, sir, distinguished members of the committee, my name is I.U. Igolo, Assistant Legal Advisor, Nigerian Customs Service.
Mr. Chairman, I, Elijah Bushrokwe, I'm here as a petitioner to the House and to the innocent traders in Oyo
State. Chair and distinguished senators, my name is Ken Okora. I am the president of the National Association of Nigerian Traders, representing the petitioners. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, senators here present, my name is Adegoke Abiodun. I am the Southwest Secretary of NAT. Thank you.
Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished colleagues. Well, for the benefit of those at home, well, I will read out the synopsis of the petition before the Senate. Alhaji Musediku and Mr. Afolabi Oluwatoyin, on behalf of Ibadan Foodstuff Sellers Association, wrote a petition against Nigeria Customs Service, and this petition was led by Senator Kola A. Balogun Oyo South on Tuesday, 20th April 2021. Alhaji Musediku and Mr. Afolabi Oluwatoyin, on behalf of Ibadan Foodstuff Association, wrote against Nigeria Customs Service on alleged night invasion of both the international market in Ibadan and the forcible breakage of the rice traders shop by men of Nigeria Customs Service on 1st April 2021. They alleged that the men of the Customs Service forcefully opened their stores in their absence and carted away bags of rice, cartons of vegetable oil, cash and bags of garri, and still put some shops under lock. They request the Senate to look into the matter, among other things, and urge the Nigerian Customs Service to return all the items carted away and archive they have stolen from the church. So this is before the Senate of Federal Republic of Nigeria. The Nigerian Customs Service, ordinarily we invited the Controller General of Nigerian Customs, but because of the position we give to his office, and it's one of the revenue generation agencies in Nigeria, and it's loaded with a lot of assignment here and there. We accommodated somebody to represent him. But nevertheless, a letter was written by him to honor the Senate that he will not be able to attend. So on that note, we are allowed the man sitting, that is ACG UG Mohammed, to represent Nigerian Customs Service in this city. So we have Elijah too representing the Ibadan Traders Union. They are on seat. So to commence this hearing in earnest, we give 5 minutes to the petitioner to lay their complaint before Nigeria, because we are representing Nigerians here, so that we will allow Nigerian Customs to respond and the committee members will make contribution. Thank you. So you have the floor, Elijah. Let's hear from you.
Thank you very much, distinguished chairman of this committee, the honorable committee in this house. Thank God that you are here for us. We wrote a petition in respect of the Ibadan Foodstuff Sellers Association to let the house know our problem and save our soul. On the midnight, around 12:35, I was called that the NSCS, Nigerian Customs Service, in conjunction with the Army and loaders, were in the market. I said, wow, for what? Because we are so patriotic in our market. We've handed several trucks to the customs. We patronize Nigerian goods because we know that smuggling kills the economy of the country, of any country. So I couldn't leave home around that time. And people started calling me. But on getting there around 5 o'clock in the morning, I got shops when we went around. Shops some were locked, and put sticker. I said, those with stickers mean something was in there. Because the stickers warn that the FOU came to do this, and nobody should, unauthorized person should not remove. If you remove, it's going to be 10 years imprisonment and 100 million fine. So those shops are still under lock and key. I said, no, yes. Those shops mean something, it was still there. But other shops, they just put the padlock, they don't slow down, they put their silver padlock. What kind of this? Someone has 5 bars, 10 bars, 7 bars, you are all shattered away. Even their straight bullets got to someone, which they have to rush that person to the hospital. Our source on this rise, because majority of us inherited this business from our parents. We've been, those days, we normally go to Abakaliki, Otibo, and Benue State, which we back. As they have already said, we are not Foreign Rice Dealers Association. We are rice dealers, because the full stop may be ambiguous. But the right section of it is for those people, each group has its own association. We have for vegetables, we have for yam, and so on and so forth. But our own, we are purely for rice. And since then, from Otirigbo to Lagos, we patronize those importers there. But when it gets to Nigeria, we are so glad that Nigeria, that we will even be relieved from major distributors that used to give us the so-called rice. But this so-called rice, we have all our evidence. We have our way bills for it. But last year, we discovered that after the palliative.
Sorry, madam, you say what you are saying, the fact that these are not imported rice. They are local rice.
They are local rice.
Local rice. And you have the way bills.
We have our way.
Please submit copies to the committee. Please go ahead.
So we were able to say, well, those of us that had money in the shops, even as we were Ojaba, what happened on Saturday, we have money in the shops because we are business people. You see, they will say, don't transfer, we need money. Like me, I want to buy vegetable on King's because we deal with PZ, King's Hall from PZ. I want to pay to the account of the major dealer. That's why I almost stupidly have 3.7 in my shop. Why I call this stupidly? Because we say that what is so much doing in the shop. Some has 150. One POS has 150. I do sell Gary. I used to go for Gary. We have bags of Gary in the shop. They carried one bag, which is even a bag, because I sold the bag Gary and Oyo Gary. They sold that, that one is one shop, 2 shops of mine. One shop, they carry everything there.
Gary, locally made Gary?
Locally made Gary.
Can't take away?
Yeah.
Why?
The other shops where they put seal on, that shops is where we kept the cash 3.7, which I believe that I've already sworn by the Holy Quran, which I believe in. So they went away with that 3.7. I believe because this thing is still under lock and key. I believe is that the money may be there. So I have to tell my staff, because I have staff selling for me. At my age, I cannot do everything on my own. So I said, put another lock so that everybody cannot just come and finalize what is inside. So we are on this, writing or shouting. We protested to, not protest, we went to the South, our governor, The SA on security came to us, addressed us, went to the hospital to see the person which was attacked by stray bullets affected. We went there, he paid the hospital bill. So by Saturday, then we passed the something to the petition. We went to our senator, our able Senator Banu, our daddy. So we went to complain, said we want Nigerians to hear our voice and to save our soul. Because majority, 98% of us are alone. I got my own transfer, I got my own inflow because I'm a pensioner. Likewise, majority of us. Okay. So that Ojaba later came on Saturday. We are on Saturday.
Fresh one.
Our shops are still under lock and key. At Bodija. The one on Saturday was still also here. Please save our soul. Please, the last hope is yours. Who are you? Please, kindly save our soul.
And the lawyer, do you have anything to say, please, before we ask the custom to respond?
Thank you very much, distinguished Chairman and distinguished members of this committee. This is a matter that is really very unfortunate in the 21st century that enforcement agents who are supposed to be keepers of the law will also be the ones, whether by hook or crook or by default of any law or reliance of any rules in any matter, would go by night. And since I was born, distinguished senators, I only know that those who do such kind of things and do that by night are called thieves. And the Nigerian customs should not be reduced to that particular level where we now be disrespecting them with such kind of tag. And the reason why I started this way is because of some claims in certain quarters that the Custom and Excise Management Act has empowered them to do such. If that is true, I am therefore staring at the lawmakers who made the law to perhaps help us to interpret whether this is exactly what the kind of law they made. And I know also that the law that they have talked about that empowered them to do so, distinguished members of this committee, a reliance on a law that is 1959, something has to be done. Then the second thing I need to talk about is this. That if you look at the age of the people who are affected, it becomes something of pity that somebody will go and borrow money from the bank and become a debtor. In any case, the matter we are talking about, distinguished senators, is that the customs are claiming that these goods are are smuggled items. From where? Yeah, from where? That is what they claim, and that's what they have told us always. But the point is, from what point was it smuggled? Where is customs supposed to be? Now, if you also look at all of this to the extent that the petition, in fact, I'm going to make submissions, distinguished senators, that we have close to, for the issue of April 1st at Bodija, we have close to 4.8 million that is unaccounted for. There were still shops cash. We have 3,047 46 bags of rice carted away. And we have also the names and the phone numbers of all the shop owners. I have this with me. On the 1st of May, I think the light first, at our job market, it was about 2,227 bags of rice and 20 kgs of vegetable oil. Now, Mr. Chair and distinguished senators, why nobody is saying that these Nigerians who are traders must kill the economy by by dealing on foreign rice? We are also saying seriously.
Mr. Chairman, once again, if you wouldn't mind, because we have other people. My living friend really supported the case of Claire very well. And that's the reason why my living friend is here. So we have gotten to know what the story is all about from the traditional point of view.
And I was just losing up.
So, my living friend,
I was just losing up. I was just losing up. So my closing remark is that we are pleading that the customs should please send back what they have taken from these shops and open the shops for the owners to do their businesses. It is at this time when we have insecurity, problems in our hands. I'm not sure it is the right time for these things to be happening in our country. Thank you very much.
Okay, I think two colleagues, listen to the petitioner. And
your mic, sir.
We also give.
Your mic, sir.
Okay. The two colleagues will listen to the petitioner. We will allow the custom authority to respond. But like I said, we are representative of the people here. We are representing the custom they voted for us. But there's law practice. Where the law is going to be operated in such a way to kill the people. Nothing has ever will not get it. So we allow you to state your position. You have a law that you rely upon to come out for your to come out public talk in the night. So we look at it. We are not make the law. We interpret to you and see how it's going to be, implemented in such a way that Nigeria will be happy. So that you can support the economy. Because if the economy of these poor people. Go ahead, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. So we give you the floor. Thank you.
Sorry, but just for the record and for Nigerians to know, this custom, a lot of things might have happened that you don't know. I want to ask the man who is representing the controller general. I want to ask a question. Listen to me now, listen to me. Listen to me. I want to ask, when he will be saying what he said, he can answer me. I want to know whether they amended the act of the custom. That is one. Number two, because I want to know when they change their uniform. The time the custom start wearing red berets, whether it's part of their uniform now. Thank you, Chairman.
Well, you can, after responding to the petition, you can answer those questions by the specific colleague. That was just an addendum, not the subject matter. Go ahead. Answer the subject matter first, then addendum, because you need to be briefed properly.
Mr. Chairman, other distinguished members of the committee, report to respond to the Senate invitation. The report on intelligence driven evacuation of small Fagoil rice in 4 hired trucks from warehouses, stores at the Boja Market, Ibadan, Oyo State. Following credible intelligence that over 50 vehicles laden with foreign rice smuggled through Ogomocho, Oyo axis were stockpiled in Bodija Market, Oyo State, at about 1 a.m. on Thursday, 1st April 2021, a sting operation was carried out. However, in order to prevent a crisis of any kind which could result in loss of lives and properties, officers men of the service waited till the dead of the night after market hours before evacuating the bags of rice. At that time, there were no suspects on ground, hence no arrests were made. In the aftermath of the operation, a total of 1,706 bags of foreign rice was confirmed and evacuated in 4 hire trucks with a sum of 522,360 naira found in one of the trucks. The rice was subsequently converted to seizure, forfeited to the federal government, while money documented was said to be pending further investigation to unmask the perpetrators. It is pertinent to note unequivocally that the action of the Nigerian Customs Service is in consonance with its mandate as enshrined in Section 8 and 147 of the Customs and Excise Management Act, Cap. C45, Law of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, which states Italian. Section 8, officers to have powers of police officers for the purpose of carrying out or enforcing the provision of the custom and excise laws. All officers should have the same powers, authority, and privileges as given by law to the police officer. Section 147, to search premises without prejudice or any other powers conferred by this act, where there are reasonable grounds to suspect that something liable to forfeiture under the custom and the excise law is kept or concealed in any building or place. Any officer may, without warrant, enter the building, that building or place, at any time, whether day or night, search for, seize, detain, remove any such item, and they may, so far as is reasonably necessary for the purpose of such entry, such seizure, detention, or removal, break open any door, window, container, and depose and remove any other impediment or obstruction. Where there are reasonable grounds to suspect that any steel vessel, utensil, spirit, or material for the manufacture of spirit as or are unlawfully kept or deposited in any building or place, the provision of subsection 1 of this section shall apply in relation to any police officer as it will apply in relation to an officer. In conclusion, the Nigerian Customs Service appreciates the opportunity to state its case as it performs its statutory function and enforces government policies without fear or favor. The committee may wish to recall that smuggling of foreign parboiled rice was one of the reasons which led to the closure of land borders with our neighboring countries as it contravenes common agricultural rights for self-sufficiency. It is our hope that measures such as this will serve as deterrent to other would-be offenders. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I want to begin first to say that we as Nigerians are happy when we see custom performing their duties. I know that we help the economy and equally monitor goods that are imported to our countries to make sure they are within the law. Now, I listened to the authority you quoted, the law you quoted. You stressed the fact that custom, which I agree with you, you do have a responsibility to search premises. Am I right? When you talk about premises, even if you stand before a competent court of constitution, a court, a judge, no matter how you're going to interpret it, and no matter the form of interpretation as to whether the literary meaning or the mischief or the good, you cannot tell me that marketplace is part of premises. In law, when you talk about searching premises in law, whichever way you judge interpret it, either by the literary, by the mischief, or by the golden rule, there is no way you will accept premises as a marketplace. A marketplace is where goods are sold and sold to customers. The law you have quoted is just not even for the literary meaning. They are all consideration of my knowledge of law. It doesn't fit in. You have a duty to protect goods and to provide the lives of Nigeria. But it must be within the framework of Nigerian law. Customs cannot go inside the market. The question will be, where were you people when these goods were imported? How were they imported to Nigeria? And again, Mr. Custom, if you have to do that, should it be carried out at night? What does that indicate? Whatever is the claim of the traders, even if they say well, the billion naira was stolen there, they have the right to say so. Because they were not there. If there is a provision of the law that gives this power, I think that is the also review it. Because you cannot go to a place in the night and you open up the shop and you say you are performing your official duty without any both the owners are there. They are not available. It doesn't make sense. So in the first place, Mr. Chairman, premises, by my knowledge of the English language and legal terms, limited knowledge of law according to my senior colleague, my license said, there is no provision. The law you quoted is against what you have done. Because you said premises. Mr. Custom, the market cannot be regarded as a premises. Then the question I want to ask is, you recall that there was a time a similar incident happened somewhere in Katsina. You remember the officer was somebody dismissed from tax. And the goods were returned. Because your argument is as good as you are passing judgment on your case. But I can tell you that we have enough documents here to answer questions and respond when people come here. And the case in question in Katsina is almost something like this. The goods were returned, and those were given civil discipline. So, Mr. Chairman, I want to say that I do not think that the SSI, good as your intentions are, fantastic as the desire to save the industry, to create room for productivity in Nigeria, is equally negates the spirit and content of the art that we are presenting. I so sorry.
Enforcement I'm happy you are now stepping into the shoes. I say I'm very happy now that you are stepping into your father's shoe. And you know your father? There are laws and there are laws. There's a law of common sense. This time, things are bad. When it happened the other time, you were around when I was in charge of operations for 18 years. We avoided market debate. You remember? Because we lost a lot of officers. We avoided, and we made this law 204 as amended. Here, in this law, which you are reading, which I've just assisted you in circulating, they saw the place, a building, warehouses and so on. But we knowingly avoided marketplaces because we have entered into problems. And we don't have enough officers to sacrifice to these people. Now, the question is, how do you differentiate between Nigerian-made rice and Avoid-made rice? Inside the same bag, how do you determine? And you should know that these people, they are more clever than you. They will go and buy rice from Katsina and Kebbi, and go and buy a bag of this empty bags from Akongo and where, and say made in China. Am I lying, Madam Rice? Am I lying? Made in Thailand. For them to sell to we. Since you don't have the technology to determine this is from Paroy, this is from Kebbi, automatically you will have seen that. You still remember warehouse code? Warehouse code is still working here. You will have seen it all. Step 1. You will have sent for their lawyers and all of them to report to you at their headquarters. They will come. Then you will have gone there with them to open the warehouse or the market. The market is forbidden because of bloodshed. I personally, I have told you, I even told your colleague here, this is 2021 century customs. There's never been a custom all over the world carrying gun up and down again. This is modern custom. We want to modernize you. That is why we are voting a lot of billions of naira into custom to modernize you. Then 2, since I was your boss, did you ever see me reading Kano market? Have you ever seen me like that? Even if you say you are going, I will tell you not to. Because that is the life of the people. As soon as this thing came to them, there is another day, they are coming through the border again. Instead of having all this argument here, I will tell you to your colonel that you should not waste our officers. The soldiers that you people are using, we have already heard from the GOC, he said he did not know anything about it. You should be able to use your common sense to make our law effective. If you secure our borders seriously, rights will not come in. If you don't have enough officers, we have granted you officers to recruit. Even if you say you need 10,000, we will give you. But stop raiding markets and come out. You have all the powers, 40 kilometers to the border. Is it not still working? Executive order number 1. That was the one did by Baba Obasanjo, then repeated by Osibaki. 40 kilometers to the border. You do it. But still, my own boy, who is supposed to be the star of the service, he entered trouble through this overseas losses. And he was court-martialed and his life was cut short in the service. Please, you should avoid all this. If there is any other thing, if I hear that you have raided another market, I am no more a custom officer. I am a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Most of the shops you have raided now, they are all wretched people going on, what do you call it, Bomni Lantern? Yes, sir. You know the meaning of Bomni Lantern, ACG? No. Ask the lawyer to tell I know, the lawyer will know. How can you put your breast on lantern? That is the loan they are taking. And it is straight. It has passed through 3 or 4 people before they can get there. And what they are holding there, I think maybe you will still tell your legal department. My own advice, the lawyer, you have to meet their lawyer and sort it out. Because we shouldn't hear all these things here. That's my own advice. Stop reading market. Things are bad. Nigeria is bleeding. The man who talk to you was weeping the other time. I have been crying since. We are your representative. I'm representing you. All of us are representing you. See their senator. Their senator is very lean. They don't allow him to sleep. No. So please stop it and sort it out at your level. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, Senator Father was here very well. I didn't get the voting decision. But ACG, I just want to ask you 2 questions for the record. I'm also sure, and I'm also happy the assistant legal advisor, of course, is also here. My first question is the law that you cited, the authority that you cited in your speech, which is section 147 of the Customs and Excise Management Act, right? That's the law that you rely on. And it says, without prejudice to any other power conferred by this act, where there are reasonable grounds to suspect. In this specific situation, I would like you to speak to the record. Did you or your officers have reasonable grounds to do what you did? And if yes, you need to tell us what were those grounds. That's my first question with respect to the law that you cited. My second question, sir, is also simply to ask you or the assistant legal officer, who is assistant legal advisor, whether or not you were aware of the executive order number 001 of 2017, which says, among other things, that the Controller General of Customs, Colonel Hamid Ibrahim Ali, retired, through which it directed the dismantling of any checkpoint beyond 40-kilometer radius of the land borders and any other operation beyond the 40 kilometer has been illegal. Now, the venue, if you are aware of that executive order and it has not changed, I would also like you to address this committee on whether or not the venue of this market where this operation was carried out was within the 40-kilometer radius to the border. Those are the 2 questions. Yeah.
Distinguished Senator, the first question you asked to reasonable ground. Now, right from the article, I did say report on intelligence driven evacuation of smuggled provide rice import higher trucks from warehouses, stores in Bodija market. These reasonable ground you are talking about were based on intelligence driven. The person also works intelligent. It's only when there is information. The person do not just wake up one day and decide to go and start breaking the store. It must be based on information. That's what was done. Your second question about the 40 kilometer radius. There is a difference between a checkpoint and a patrol base. A checkpoint is a place whereby there is a barrier. almost every vehicle moving must stop for search. That is a checkpoint. It is a constituted place by authority. While a patrol base, you find officers in a vehicle sitting by the roadside or in a bench, quite unaffected by the move around them. They only act on information. When they have information, then they will go to the roadside and flag it down. That is the difference. So it is possible that you find patrol bases within the 20-kilometer radius based on section 158 of the Customs and the Excise Law, where it states that an officer can patrol freely anywhere in Nigeria, by land, by air, or by water, in the course of enforcing Customs and the Excise laws.
Are you going to Mediterranean?
That's my place.
Can you go there?
Why not?
Now that there is one.
I'm telling you.
No.
Even,
am I not your boss?
Okay, you are. Okay, I was, even though I did not go there directly, but I knew what, I've been in the custom for 30 years.
Okay, sorry, Gambori, Ghana. It's Gambori.
That is the whole theater.
So sorry about that.
Mr. Chairman, sir, other distinguished members of the committee, thank you for your time and your attention. I would like to state that the petition before the committee is not premised on sentiment, but rather operation of the law. The custom service officers were acting within exercise of their duties. If we take a close look at the section titled 147, it talks about enter that building or place at any time. When it distinguishes between building or place, there's a market. There's a difference between an open market space and market that's constituted of buildings. If there are no like shops in the building, then it doesn't fall within the confines of this provision. Also, looking at the intent of the law, when it says whether by day or night, I can understand that if the intention of the lawmakers were that the places or the buildings or the space to be entered into should be done only within the daytime, then the distinction would not have been made. My learned colleague here, I think, owes us an apology by saying that people that operate at night are thieves. I think I find that to be rather insensitive. We're operating and... Sir, he made that statement and said
people that operate in the night in this area.
It was an inference of insinuation. Okay, sir, but it was an insinuation that I don't think is adequate in the circumstance.
We have immunity as legislators to say anything within this complex.
Not you, sir. I mean the petition.
Mr.
Chairman, my name is Kola Balo. I represent Oyasa. I want to refer us to the interpretative note section 16 of Customs and Excise Management Amendment Act 20 of 200, talking about premises. Marketplaces are not included by this section. Marketplaces are not one of them. That's one. Two, you're offended because somebody said those who operate at night are thieves. But you also admit from your own submission that you took some money from the shops. Is money also contraband? Number two, the section my colleague, Senator Smart, that was referring to, directives that was given, was duly signed by the Controller General Amadu Ali, August 24, 2017, says directed dismantling of any checkpoints beyond 40 kilometer radius of the land, which your officer was trying to explain to us. In that particular directive, it also says any operation beyond 40 kilometer radius is illegal.
any operation. That's any operation. Any operation. Well, it doesn't really matter. This is what come out of your office. It is not our own making. So, Mr. Chairman, distinguished colleagues, I think the men of Nigerian Customs also owe Nigerians an apology for this kind of raid. Clearly, from all these operations today, the procedure is wrong. We have learned now that even from your senior colleague here, that for you to even carry out such operation, the owners must also be present. What they say you should do is to go and seal up the shops and then invite those people. Why must you go there behind their back? In any case, we also are a country of rule of law. We have a constitution that is even far superior to the act that you're talking about. And the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria protects the right of these people to good living. So if it happened in Katsina State, similar raid, some officers were suspended because of this, and the goods were also returned to the traders. Mr. Chairman, distinguished colleagues, why can't we do the same thing in this case? What is good for the goods is good for the other. So sorry.
Thank you, distinguished colleagues, gentlemen of the press, verdict on. As the chairman of this committee, I will appeal to Customs, Comptroller General of Customs. When you look at this law, it's subject to various interpretations. I will read for Nigerians to hear. Without prejudice to any other power conferred by this act, where there are reasonable grounds, to suspect that anything liable to forfeiture under the Custom and Excise Act laws is kept or concealed in any building or place, any officer may, without a warrant, or remove any such that is not clear, or remove any such thing, and may, so far as is reasonably necessary for the purpose of such entry, search, seizure, detention, or removal, break open any door, windows, container, and force and remove any other impediment or obstruction, whether by day or night. This is where you derive your power, whether day or night. The question, we who are the elected representative of the people, in the National Assembly, what we're asking is what reasonable grounds? Any good that can find their way to the market, we call it market overt. They pass through custom, the people collect excise duty from them. Whether it was illegally imported or otherwise, your people have collected money on the border. They find their way to the markets of innocent citizens. Information about this one reveals that even some of your items you forfeited or you sold on auctions are sold to some people who came to patronize them and bring it to the market. They show pictures. There is the same people who say now go and inform you to go back in the night because they don't empower you to go and render them homeless, to go and render them, become a certified debtor to their bankers. Most of them borrow 10,000 to pay 20,000 as gold. Then they even show to this committee where bills of local rice imported from Benue and all the rest, we encourage them to buy local rice. When the Ahmadu Ali administration sealed the border, we realized the money in this country. We commended him, having member of the Committee of the Senate, that Nigerians are now eating Nigerian rice. We are happy. We are able to feed ourselves. Local rice owners were able to even increase their own money from the price of a bag from 50,000 to 25,000. Who am I? These same people buy local rice. And it finds its way to the market over, where the last retailer, where consumers go to buy directly from them, they are not importers. They don't even know the border. They don't import. They don't even have capacity to import. Most of them buy 10 bags, 20 bags, 10 bags from the people who come to sell auction goods to them. Then you came in the night again now. You go and take it from them. That's why we say, we as representatives of the people here, there is no reasonable grounds for your people to have gone to such market in the night. Ordinarily, if there are information that imported riders find themselves into certain markets, when you look at the law regarding you, is this market 40 kilometers away? Is it within 40 kilometers away from the border? If the answer is no, the intelligence department or organization would have been sent to that market to give them to go and buy 2 bags of rice. Do information, do what? Confirm whether the information given to you is genuine or not before you act. If you now find out in the night, somebody who doesn't wear a uniform can go to the market and want to buy 10 bags of rice. One bag from each shop to find out whether they are really being imported rice or not. It is only when you confirm that come, these are available to raise money from the federal government. We will support you. But in this case, there are no reasonable grants. And they will call the doctrine of judicial precedent. This thing we were made to aware that in Castilla, such thing took place. Such officers were sacked, and the goods were made to be returned to the owners. What are we appeal to you? We Nigerians. That is why in most cases we always want number one citizen to be present. If Amadu Ali sits today, he will listen to what I'm saying. And we relate the message of this committee to him. This is a time many Nigerians are not fit. It's not the right time for to just take action based on information to go and raid markets of poor women who are borrowing loans to buy 10 bags, 20 bags. The people even confirm that they took cash from there. Is cash is a contraband goods? It's not contraband. Or Gary, where do they import Gary to be a contraband? Because it's one of those things carted away by yourself. When you act in law, you don't use it excessively. The purpose of the law made by the National Assembly is for good governance of our people. It's not for punishing them. It's not for making them homeless. Because most of these women, they may be homeless. Because if they cannot pay their loan, those loan people will come and carry their food, their garri from the market and say, come and pay your loan. They can't carry their properties. So we are sending a message to your INCG that a senior custom officer has even, intervened here. That when he was in service, going to the market is dangerous. An interpretation of the law to suffer people to not be your own action. Because these are poor people. You didn't come to my house who can even afford to pay, bills for people. The rest I buy in the open market. Anything that can find itself to market over. Custom officers should stop raiding markets. Again, custom officers should stop raiding car shops. These are your people. You know them. They find their ways, all these car dealers. They buy car from Europe, America, here and there. They find their way to the border to get to a car shop in Ikeja, a car shop in Akure, a car shop in Owerri. Even when a third party who took a loan, a civil servant who has worked for 34 years,
dey see the same kind of them. These laws should not be implemented to hurt the people. On that note, this committee is sending a message to Ahmadu Ali that God, the same operation happened in Katsina State, and the goods were returned to the owner. We are pleading to you using this material medium. This is God. They don't want to go to God. They can't sue you. They don't even want to sue you because their rights have been infringed upon. They don't have no money to hire SM. But the budget we gave you, you have money to hire SM. They don't have. We are pleading to Ahmadu Ali, the CK of Custom, to please direct his men who came to Bodija market and Ojaba market. One happened on 29, the other one on 1st May, Abba. And most of these goods, this committee has evidence that there were well-beings buying these goods locally. However, if there are reasonable grounds, some of these bags, you see, the rice made in Onitsha or made in Abakaliki, when you see it's different from the imported from Thailand. You can differentiate. So we are appealing to Ahmadu Ali in this laws are the custom and excise committee of which I'm a member, we have to revisit this place to put exception to market so that it can be clear and ambiguous. Exception to market, and then people that can find their way to market over. This will be exempted. Customer, yes, that operations too. That operations, if you want to go and if you see me as a defaulter of the law, you don't go behind my back. Come and face me, or I will pull your door. There is an information against you that you imported rice. Then I will be able to defend myself. I'll be able to even open some of the bags of rice for you to test whether it is imported or local rice. The essence of this law is to what? Is to encourage local production. But not to kill the people who voted for us. Who cannot, they don't know. Most of them have never been to Abuja before. They sit in their markets. They are the one from the little money they make, they send their children to school so that they can be like us in the future. When you privately terminate by taking all their goods because they don't have flavor, we are their helper, we are appealing, this law is too harsh on this people. Yeah, I'm only saying that the implementation. So what I'm saying, let me finish. What I'm saying that we are sending this message to Ahmadu Ali to please, markets are exempted and let reduce rate. Let him call his men to calculate what they are taking away from those shops and return to them. That is before I go there.
Mr. Chairman, before you go, Mr. Chairman, I think they should get the message clear that the decision of this committee will be tabled on the floor of the Senate. And before you go, Mr. Chairman, you should give them an ultimatum of when this goods should be returned. And they should get it clear that whichever way you interpret the law, you are shaking your head. If we rule and you don't implement our decision, we know what to do. We know you have the powers to compel you to do it. If we rule here, we give you the ultimatum to return their goods to them and you fail to, we will take a further step. Because these people are Nigerians and they put us here. And they don't have money to get SCN. We are their SCN sitting here. Now, again, Mr. Chairman, they should get it clear that premises is not synonymous with market. They are two separate things. They are shopping mall. I was at the shopping mall yesterday. I saw imported rice. You do not go there. You do not go run after poor people. I think, Mr. Chairman, the emphasis must be that we are not just asking you to return at your time. We will give you the time within which you should return their goods and return their money. If they like, they go to court and sue you for the period you have kept their money. Because you are admitted to their money and it's against law, but you take their money.
This are Nigeria, and our party, APC, we stand for the masses of this country. I will do them about the credit. Again, some of the jobs are locked. Let me just. Yeah, like we said, SCG, I mean, you are SCG. Please help us tell CG of custom. That should please, in the interest of justice and fair play, they should return those people within the next 15 days. Then have one-on-one discussion, your lawyer to have one-on-one discussion with the owners of shop that his money has been removed. Reconcile how much has been removed and let them return it back to the owners. And again, unlock their shops. Unlock them. Unlock their shops so that they can continue to do their business. Because these are simple people, they don't have gold, they don't have anything. And again, the 40-kilometer radius for your radio, any operations which does not fall within the area of 40 feet is illegal. So for the motion reaching this committee that if your booking is over 200-kilometer radius. So sir, you are in Abuja here. I know you always support the action of your boys. Let them do common sense, law and practice with this. The people who are rich smugglers, they know where they are, they will go there. They settle there, they will not go there. These are the people now selling goods to different markets. Then you will now go to the market to go and suffer innocent people. They are not importers. This is the message of this committee. And finally, like I said, we give 2 weeks. 2 weeks from now is around 18th of this May. Some of them are Muslims. Now they want to celebrate Sabbath. You have taken away their source of. So this committee is recommending you to inform the CG custom to call those men, and then we have in their evidence of some of the 100% may not be what? It may not be localized. But information is know that some of the goods we imported before from smugglers were sold to some outsiders who now sold to them in the market. They brought pictures of them. Yes, sir. So out of 300 bags, if you see imported rice of 50 there, that one came through the one you auction to some people, and then they come to sell to these people in 5 bags, in 10 bags, in 20 bags. So there may be mixture of both local rice and foreign rice in what your men have seen. Those ones that are foreign are the ones you see before and sold to some outsiders who now came to sell to them in the market over for final consumption by the consumers. So we are appealing to CG to look into this and use the precedent that happened in Katsina when Katsina market was raided, and then directives came from above that such goods should be returned back to the owners, and the officers who are involved be sacked. We have information on publication on that 2 issues here. So if it happens in Katsina, Southwest Ibadan, the city of Southwest, capital of the whole wide West, should not be today the capital of your state. So please, sir, you want to appeal? Before I rule, you want to say something? Okay. Yeah.
Wait, let me advise you. The seizure code will be following. The ones who seized last month can never be converted to seizure without examining the full test of this. Remember, if you say you have converted it to seizure, legally it's it is open. The register must be kept open. Pending the production of documents, that is the law. This one you talk about 2 or 3 days ago, that is purely detention. Pending the production. These people are now saying they have everything. Automatically, it is when you resolve all the problems, and then they try agree that they are kids, then you now serve them decision notice. Have you served them detention notice? Did they serve you detention notice or no? You can't convert it to sleep. It's wrong in law. Because they take you to court, it is me who will follow you and defend you. But me who taught you the work, I will ask you questions inside the room. Say, Abubakar, did you do it like this? First of all, go through the normal law. Open the register, detention. Then you listen to them. Then you now carry out the instruction. Is it clear to you? That's my advice.
Yeah, you want to say that? Go ahead. Sir. Yes, sir.
No.
Mr. Chairman, sir, distinguished members of the committee, we really appreciate the contribution of almost everyone, but I would want to submit and make the following observation. Okay. The seizure made.
Don't call it seizure.
Sir, I'm coming. Let me talk. Okay. Well, you know very well I've been the customer as a graduate for almost 34 years. So, that it was based on intelligent reading. And the argument of section 147, reasonable ground, our suspicion has been confirmed by the seizure of the rights. I also want to take note, sir, that I was a sector coordinator in the border drill in North Central. There were cases whereby locally produced rice were taken away and seized by the customs. It was a factually ignored. I had a meeting with the Market Women Association like them, and the one it was proved beyond the reasonable doubt, more than 3,000 bags were given to people. So the custom is a facilitator of trade. We do not mean to put people out of business. And you also know the Controller General of Customs is known for his transparency and in public life, that he does not tolerate corruption or indiscipline on the part of the officer. If, like they said, there is something we want, if there are officers they have taken as alleged the picture that they come back, they sell the rice there. We want them to submit that. I am sure there is no doubt that the CG will take drastic action against these officers. The case of Kazana, like we said, those who are returned don't know the condition and circumstances. And if there is a similar case, I'm sure if it has been established that this rice is locally made, I have no doubt this rice will be released to them. I will also the controller federal operation in Ikeja and Ori, South, 11 on charge of 11 cases. Yes, sir. Cases like that, sir. Locally produced rice. We know where I am from Kano State. And we know where this locally produced rice. We know them. Before we did that of the law, we called the Association of Market Women. We also tell them, they gave us their opinion. They were even the people, because we had such with them when we did their rice, when we were pretty sure that it was locally produced. So it is the same. If it is locally produced, it is the same. I am sure there is no doubt it will be released. But if it is for rice, I doubt if that rice is produced. Then on the other hand, I remember BBDLA, the distinguished senator representing Oyo, Oshun. I remember BBDLA that we talked. Okay, I don't know, sir. Then we spoke.
I'm the one representing Oshun.
Okay, I know you are from Oshun. We spoke with you, sir. I was called. I was the person who even talked to you. I talked to you in a manner that you were very happy. But I am surprised that now it's like the customs, as if we have no representative here. We are also Nigerians. Yeah. We and we do not make these laws. You are the people who make these laws. So if there is need for the amendment of this law, it should be done. That we are only implementing these laws. We are not the makers of this law. So I want you to understand that we are facilitating operate, and if we put people out of business, why are we going to generate the revenue? We must, or I was also the controller in we integrated even the local traders, the woman they said, to form non-formal trade. I was the person who said they should come into association and register. What the government needs? It needs data. It is for planning and development. So that's what it is. We may know how, however, investigation is still going on. In my write-off, there was no conversion to seizure. Normal process will be followed. Thank you, sir.
Well, finally, I want to off your finally, I want to thank you. I want to thank Comptroller of Customs for sending a knowledgeable custom man here. Like I said, we are representing the whole Nigeria here. We are your friends. But whatever we see things that is wrong, we point out to the authority. Now we have ruled. We have a rule, and I will want you to send a message to him that we appeal, underline appeal. These people, the action of custom has not been based on reasonable grounds. And they will also allow you to meet with them. Get the content of these particular rights we are talking about. Like Riley said, if they are local milling-made rights, release to them. And again, when you look at the question, like we said, any good that can find their way to the market of that should be returned. They are dealing with final consumer. Like today now, you remove about 10 trailers from Oyo, right? From trailer, but cup of rice will be increasing in Oyo. Because there is you have removed what you people to feed on. You've taken it to a cage. I don't know where you take it to. You are doing your work, but see, when your work is affecting Nigerians negatively, they are innocent ones. The real people who are perpetrators, who bring a cheap load of rice, you know all of them. Your people know them. This is why I don't want to import a cheap load of rice. So she finds the way to the market. Allow those in the market to continue to sell. Don't come there in the night using this law to cook there. Where you are the implementer of the law. But the question is that these are people, they are badly affected. So we are appealing to CG Custom. No law without exception. We are saying that please grant exception for these people to get their rights back and their money. The money they borrow, because money is not contraband in Nigeria here or cash. Because you didn't see dollar in them. You see dollar they carry, naira and kobo. That naira is a legal tender. And carry that they made here, they should please return it for them. So finally, in 2 weeks time, please. Please, and I want you, sir, in 2 weeks time, whatever decision come back to this committee. Report back to this committee, you particular, because I know ECG may not be available. That you will come back to this committee to come and tell us your findings. Because we want this good to be returned. And cash should be immediate. The cash should be immediate. The garage should be immediate. Then the unlocking of their shop to start doing petty trading. Anywhere these goods will be resolved should also be returned. I so.
Are we done now? Yeah.
No, we still have two cases. Well, the next one is I see Sokomoto Japanese. Presidential amnesty. Yes, sir. Oh, yeah, you are there. Fine. Why is your guy no wrong? It's not appointed. Did you submit that? Any letter of that? He sent to his representatives. Distinguished colleagues. Distinguished colleagues. This is another important case, important petition. Well, for the benefit of those who are at home, we'll take introduction from the Amnesty, the Presidential Amnesty Office, and then High Chief Sabo Mambo Jaffish. This petition was laid by my humble self on behalf of Senate President on Wednesday, 14 April 2021. High Chief Sabo Mambo Jaffish wrote against Presidential Amnesty Office for alleged gross marginalization, sabotage, and failure of the Presidential Amnesty Office to integrate more than 4,000 ex-military of General Egberi Papa camps in the Presidential Amnesty Program. He stated that after embracing the amnesty, Presidential Amnesty offer, he and his men from Egberi Papa camp were not captured in the eventual biometrics that legitimize their presence in the amnesty program and were not integrated into the amnesty program. He therefore requests that Senate should look into the matter and urge Presidential Amnesty Office to fully integrate the camp to the amnesty program and pay all their entitlements. This is a very simple, straightforward matter. I wish the Presidential Amnesty, is it Commissioner or DG? Is it DG? I mean?
Interim Administrator.
The Interim Administrator to be here personally. But since he has sent a delegation, we still commend him. But we believe that we'll be able to relate the wish of this committee. We are from Niger Delta region too.
We are from Niger.
Now, we don't want anything that will concrete the peace there. We don't want it at all. This is one of the strong men there, you know. If their men are treated and they surrender, and the promise government give them is not fulfilled, that can cause another problem. I told him that please, we don't want wahala there again. Look at his, I will allow you to talk, but I'm only giving you a brief. Now come, what this committee would like to look into is to sit with him and this is men too. Let them do their own biometrics too, so that there will be peace in Niger Delta region. That's the only way we have money. This is the only engine room of Nigeria. No allow them to start shooting all of you there again. Oh. So we give you the floor to respond to this petition. He has come in a peaceful manner to address the Senate of Federal Republic of Nigeria representing the people, to talk to you, to do the needful. So one of you should address us. What did they transpire? What happens? What is the way forward? Tell us. Thank you.
Mr.
I think may administer. Please let them administer you to administer. What is happening?
I, Chief Suboma Bajavich, do solemnly swear, affirm that the evidence I shall give before this distinguished committee shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me.
I, Towo Austin Odije, do solemnly swear, affirm that the evidence I shall give before this distinguished committee shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Now we'll give the floor to the petitioner to briefly state his case before Nigerians. Give only 5 minutes, summarize exactly. Let them know what is the cost of your petition to the Senate. Because you don't want trouble, you don't want to do trouble again. You are a troublemaker in place, but you are now a born again Nigerian to support Nigeria to grow. I started in Nigeria Delta region. A man of God now. Yeah, a man of God now. So please tell Nigeria.
Distinguished committees and ladies and gentlemen. Let me first of all appreciate the committee for this avenue. While affirming my petition, I just want to give a little opening background of this case. Sometime in October 2nd, 2009, I was given the amnesty release. I was in Kuje prison after several incarcerations. I ended up in Kuje prison because of the armed struggle. And then while in Kuje prison, the federal amnesty was proclaimed by our late president, Omar Musa Yar'Adua. And then they came to me and then discussed with me one Dr. Ekwan. Dr. Ekwan, who was a consultant at the time, came with one Mrs. Akari, I can remember. They came to the Kuje prisons to release me after giving me conditions, my lawyer condition that I would go out and then ensure that my boys and myself, surrender our arms. Now, to short the story, that was done. I was freed on the 2nd of October 2009. And then on the 3rd, immediately at the SS headquarters, DSS headquarters in Port Harcourt, on the 3rd myself, alongside with Father Gogo, and another office, our colleague, Christian Don Pedro, we did our disarmament right in the presence of the DSS headquarters in River State. The governor then was Chibike Rotimi Amechi in his presence, and of course, these other officials. The Major M.B. Shehu is now a colonel. As of then, he was a major. He was in charge of the amnesty. Now we did our disarmament only for us to expect them to do the needful by integrating us into the system. Unfortunately, we were waiting. My boys and I were waiting because I am from Buguma in Asato local government area. We were waiting while the amnesty was moving around the other leaders, the likes of my brother Farah, who is the president, who is serving as an House of Rep member today. They went to Trumia to do his biometrics. The biometrics is what gives you the power to be part of the system for you to be paid. So now without biometrics, your boys and yourself cannot be paid. So while I was waiting for the biometrics, whenever we call on the major to come and do our biometrics, the major will tell us he's going to other camps, like the camps of our brother and today King Ateke and Tom. and Father Nagogo, and every others, to a point that we were forced to begin to write letters. In October, we wrote to them, we are still waiting for our boys to be integrated by the biometrics. The letter reached to the NHM by his hand. We gave the letter to him hand in hand, and then he promised to come and do it. We waited until to short the story. On the April, we did the last letter, if I could remember. April sometime 19 or 20. We wrote to them with anger that if they don't come and integrate us, then we will be forced to come to the streets. And then we gave him the letter, he promised to come. When he will come, the next he will call us, he's not going to come, he's going extra until we came out in mass to the office in Port Harcourt and protested. That is 2010 April. We did a protest that lasted for several hours, that there was so much gunshot by the army because he is a soldier. And then to the point of almost killing some of my boys. And then the news making us was that I have come again, the Papa has come again to start another thing. So we ran out. That was where this case stopped. They refused to integrate us only for us to understand that it was politically motivated. Maybe for the fear of, I don't know, or perhaps some other people who are close to them, because I was under detention. And then only for me to come back and meet the others and not negotiate nothing. Now in all, it was not done. I tried as well as meeting the amnesty office when it came back to Abuja, meeting several. They will say, the problem is from the biometrics. Without the biometrics, they will not pay me, they will not pay my boys. And it is the biometrics that give you or your boys a room to go to Obobra. Without the biometrics, you cannot get to access to Obobra. The biometrics is to ascertain the number you have as a leader and to know, the people that they are facing for. And that is what it is. But they never did this to me. They never come to my local government or my community. Nothing was done for me. So my people were there. We even made our way to Obobra to get access to the gate. The army there still asked us of our biometrics numbers, which we don't have. So myself and my boys and my camps, we are denied this thing, our rights after taking our arms. But what happened is that I choose to be peaceful, like you said, because I don't want to indulge in violent change anymore because we have said no to it. But sometimes this provocation is becoming so much that even the boys now begin to threaten me that I told them we are going to follow it peacefully. And now others have been paid for several years, and then me and myself and my boys have been denied of our rights, and thereby they are beginning to do things that I don't understand. And that is why I said to avoid problems, I don't want my name to be heard. It is only when this justice is fair, that is when we can devise other means to ask for, our rights. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So we will give floor to the amnesty, the President Amnesty Office to respond to all these allegations. So the way forward. So we will have the focus. Your name?
Mr. Chairman, sir. Mr. Chairman, distinguished members of the committee, gentlemen of the press, my name is Wilfred Musa. I'm the head of integration, and I'm also here to represent the interim administrator who is unavoidably absent. The amnesty program is 11 years old. It was established by proclamation 11 years ago, precisely on the 25th of June 2009 by the then head of state, late President Musa Umaru Yar'Adua. And by design, and the intent at the time was for good reason. There was armed agitation in the region, And the government, at the time in its wisdom, decided to go the line of non-kinetic option as a means to address the issue. Therefore, there was the offer of amnesty. And there was a window, there was a definition. It was modeled after the UN standard method, i.e. DDR, one acronym, which means disarmament, demobilization, and then reintegration. It's a three-pronged approach. Currently, 11 years after, we are the last phase of the experience, which is the reintegration. It's been ongoing for almost 11 years. Now, rewind back to 11 years ago. The first phase, which is disarmament, there was a defined window for this in alignment with the global standards. 60 days was offered into all the warring groups in the region. And this was the deal. If they would willingly give up their arms in exchange for programs and rehabilitation opportunities. To this end, August 6th to October 4, 2009 was the defined window for the first stage of the DDR, which is disarmament, i.e. all the groups were reached out to. And there was high-level interactions and engagements. Negotiations went under, encouraging them to willingly submit their arms. It was a very successful exercise because at the time we were able to comb the region and virtually every known militant group was reached out to, and the exercise went on. Now, beyond that window, when the arms were willingly submitted, there was documentation of the arms and the ammunition, as well as the leaders and the boys under each of the groups. All of this in alignment with the global standards. This was done with the help of the Nigerian military and other agencies working together. Beyond this point, of course, there were issues here and there. 11 years after, and after 5 different managements of the program, here we are again with an issue. And we have to deal with it, we have to look at it. And we have begun to look at it, as a matter of fact. And we remember, and we are quick to recall and to note that because it was scoped in the area of disarmament, which happened 11 years ago, within the 60-day window, there were players, there were individuals who had mandates at the time to handle. And for the benefit of this hearing, we will need to reach out and to expand the witnesses and the inputs so as to afford us the bird's eye view of the matter. It is also worthy to note that the first batch of documented ex-agitators at the time was 20,192, which we refer to as batch 1 or phase 1. We have had 3 phase inclusions, and for every phase, there is the highest level authorization of which only Mr. President at every given time has the mandate to sign off on any inclusion. Because beyond phase 1 that had 20,192, there was a clamor by other groups. There was an argument beyond that period, and there was a high-level consideration of the matters at those times. So we had phase 2, which also had a block number, 6,000 plus, and then we had phase 3 that was 3,000 plus. If you do the math and you add phase 1 inclusion plus 2 and 3, we have a caseload currently of 30,000 members in that register. Kindly note that each of these 3 phase inclusions were accepted to by Mr. President. So here we are with this matter that we have begun to look at, and we've also noted that because its occurrence is pitched within the time scope of 11 years ago, there is need for us to rewind and to identify who were the key players at that time, and to recommend that these players, wherever they may be currently, be also invited to give their own accounts of the realities of the events that may have combined and resulted in whatever matter we are here and currently x-ray. This represents a summary of our submission of the matter. Thank you very much.
I can read your point number 6 on page 3. I will read it to some of you. The disarmament of Njeri Papa. Some of Njeri Papa was released from the prison on the 2nd of October 2009. The condition for his release was for him to disarm, surrender all his arms and ammunition to federal government. In line with Amnesty Day, it was Dr. Ferdinand Ukwa who personally went to the Njeri prison and signed him out. According to Gbeiba, while in prison, now Honorable Farah Dagogo kept consulting his arms and ammunition. On the 3rd of October 2009, Gbeiba disarmed alongside with Honorable Farah Dagogo at the DSS headquarters in Port Harcourt. Honorable Farah Dagogo is now at the National Assembly, representing the good people of the Gema and Oni federal constituency. However, all arms and ammunition submitted on that day were recorded under Honorable Farah Dagogo cap and taken for granted that Honorable Somago was under Honorable Farah Dagogo. This was not clear to the Gbeiba, who had believed that the team led by Major M.B. Shehu, now Colonel M.B. Shehu, will come to his base in Buguma, headquarters of Asari to local area of Ura, to document and take the boundaries of member of staff. However, it is not happening. Now my question is this: major players in the amnesty program are imprisoned by the general administration. When there were issues, when they were pleading for them to surrender, they never surrender. So the major players are taken to prison. Honorable Farah Dagogo camp. I don't know whether Farah Dagogo was also taken to prison. Was he taken to prison? No. So from what you submit here,
it appeared that it is that man that was keeping all the armament of this when he was in prison. Is that the question? I'm asking question. No, so if by the time they now surrender and were to be documented, I believe amnesty would have taken the man in prison who was the head of a camp and asked him to identify all his followers for him to be documented. That was not done. And there's a foul play to assume that Honorable Federal is a senior, is a guard to this man who was in prison. I don't think that is fair. Because I'm taking for granted, like they take it for granted that Thomas Bukujati was under Honorable Federal. If he's not a player, a head of a camp, that the then amnesty believe that if this man doesn't surrender, there will still be a problem. I expected that until they were documenting, this man should have been identified to show all his followers. And he said he makes repeated calls to the authority. They will say they are coming today, they are coming tomorrow, up to now. When the first phase was done, the second phase was done, the third phase was done, this man was not invited. From your submission now, you said that only 50 out of his camp. If a soldier is complaining only 50 soldiers, nobody will recognize him. That is a major player in causing trouble there. If he has only follow 50 people, who will recognize him as a leader of a camp? And he made it clear to National Assembly that my boys are disturbing me on the last one to surrender. After surrendering, we were not documented. They are threatening him. So if it's only a soldier, a leader with only 50 soldiers or 50 troublemakers, they will not be put into prison as a leader of a camp. So I believe, sir, that you should talk to your son administrator, or what do you call his name? Interim administrator, to sit with Jacques. Have you been documenting yourself?
Not at all.
You see, if the major player that was in prison to surrender were not documented, there's a foul play somewhere. Some people hate this man. They excluded his camp completely from being documented. And therefore, the National Assembly is of the opinion that we don't want to allow that prison. If some camps were registered, and some camps were not registered, even himself was not registered. If you say people under him is 50 were registered, why himself was not registered? Why was he not registered? To tell him that only 50 people will have hope. I believe that fairness and justice will play. Let him sit with your amnesty man. We don't want trouble in Nigeria again. If he say he has 4,000, it's only when a soldier that has 4,000 people that can shake a region and start forgetting trouble. I said they are not born again, they don't want trouble. Documenters are paying all our arrears. I think if the administrator should personally take the camp of this man to Mr. President for so that they can document him and let them be peace in that region. Sit with him, agree with him. I would have believed you that if you say you register people under Iberi Papa, the Iberi Papa himself was not registered. He has no one cover. I think they are paying us 65,000 every month. I mean, each beneficiary. What is asking for is don't let us be penny wise and pass through issue. If 4,000 people go and start breaking all your pipe in Nigeria, there will not be plenty to share in the federation account. We don't want problem. This what do you call it? What we are facing is because we are facing that it's enough for us. It's not for us for now. We are still looking for a way to overcome. If these people join again, because of shaking change, it's shaking change based on what has been approved for you people to document these people. Let there be peace, so that we can walk in the path of peace. This is my position and the advice to you representing this. You see how many to say?
Yes, I want to add something. Thank God their statement further proves that I actually have my arms and ambition. But I want to clarify something. As at the time of we doing our disarmament in the DSS airport in Port Harcourt on the top, there were so many boys. You know, when we come out like this, we come out with our boys and all of that. Now, myself, Father Dagogo, and Christian Dopedo, we are the only 3 persons who came out as the leaders. When they said, "Where are the leaders?" We came out. The video is there in SSS headquarters. As a senior, you can request it. And then we came out after Father, who was on ground, before I came out. If I was not one of the major leaders, I wouldn't have had such a power to come out and immediately come out with Father Dagogo to express ourselves. Father made his speech. After reading his own speech, he wrote his speech. I took over the mic and also addressed why me and my men went into this struggle and that we are ready to support the government. Now why I am saying this further is because they say what is good to the good for the goose is good for the gander. Now he has just made me understand that I was very, very weak for me not to have acted the way I should have been. I should have acted all these years that I decided to use money from my pocket to calm down these people from from the little findings I get. Now the thing is becoming so unbelievable, and that is why I said I have to take this action. Even though I have been approaching them by myself. Look, you people are today the leaders today, they know, of course he cannot say I'm one of the leaders. He knows us very well. The people that are leaders that is coming to meet, if I come, they will say, "Master." So there is no way I will come today and begin to come here to claim what I am not. But to the glory of God, he has confirmed. I want to plead with the Honorable House, the distinguished committee, to please not just throw it to them, because when I meet with the interim administrator, he made me understand that his hands are tight, even though he saw the case. I cannot say wrong of him. He saw the merit of the case, and that it has to do from the president. And of course, I know you people are at the arms of the president also, that when you see things that may cause chaos or rancor in the polity, you will address. I want to plead that this distinguished Senate should see how it can further, approach perhaps the NSA or the president, so as to give justice, and then let us also have all our rights as secured. Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you very much, Jackish. You representative of interim administrator, you've had him. Because it is a teaching time saves 9. His teaching time saves 9. He has been a good man, but not for me to talk over this year. That's why I came to the Senate. You are our representative. See the injustice method of me and my people are getting out of hands. I don't want trouble. I don't want to be known for another round of trouble. That's why he's here. I want to appeal to you to tell the Solar to take this thing up with National Security Advisor and come back to us in 2 weeks' time. The position. Regarding this scam, it's a major player. If a major player is deliberately excluded, it's not good enough. We don't want trouble. So we give 2 weeks for you to meet with your solar, to meet with National Security. If we invited this man to see how we can secure approval to document him and his people, so that at least Niger Delta will witness peace forever. I so. 2 weeks time for 18 across this.
That's the last one. Clark, we have to invite Federal character. Federal character. Yes, they pick up. So please invite them. Okay, please bring your card so that I know who represented the zone administrator here.
I will send it through the clerk of the committee. Thank you very much.